because they're wearing long robes of deceit saying, I'm for you with one hand, while they're stealing from you with the other hand, like a great magician would do. He gets you to look one way, and he's doing something totally different. Democrats are the party of racism. They're the party of the KKK, yet they pretend to care for these people. They're the party of Planned Parenthood, better called Planned Murderhood. The founder, Margaret Sanger, was a racist who came in long robes of righteousness. Long robes of deceit. Yeah, wrong robes. Quietly in secret, she would tell those in her own writing and her friends that the target was the black community. But outwardly, she would never tell that to anyone. Yet they have her writings that show and expose this. I think this verse goes along great. Then in the audience of all the people, he said unto his disciples, beware of the scribes which desire to walk in long robes and love greetings in the markets and the highest seats in the synagogues and the chief rooms at feasts, which devour widows' houses and for a shoe make long prayers. The same shall receive greater damnation. I mean, here's a woman, Margaret Sanger, who actually wanted to exterminate people with dark skin. That was her goal. And she was covered in these robes of deceit where people couldn't see it. And even today, the liberals and the Democrats still try to cloak her in that. They try to cover her. They try to cover her tracks and cover her trail and say, oh, this isn't about that. When it absolutely is, from the founder herself. I saw a picture of, talk about long robes of deceit. I saw a picture of Nancy Pelosi kneeling down for a photo op with some type of African thing around her neck for Black Lives Matter, to show solidarity with Black Lives Matter while she openly supports killing black babies. She knows the abortion rate for black women is almost 5 times that of white women. You say, well, that's not a fair statement. She's pro-abortion, so she's not just for killing black babies or dark-colored skinned babies. She's for killing all babies. Fair enough. But she knows the abortion rate for black women is almost 5 times that of white women. She knows Planned Parenthood, planned death camps, are normally built in low-income areas that target a specific group of people. She knows the history of Planned Parenthood. She knows the history of the Democratic Party. She hides under her long robes of deceit, hoping no one will catch on, especially the people she's pandering to. Here she is kneeling down, praying, pretending to care about Black Lives Matter when she is one of the biggest proponents of killing black babies. And people are just like mesmerized by these people who show and look good and sound good, but they ain't good. And the people who should be exposing it the most aren't exposing it. An article by Frank Aquila states this. During the State of the Union address, this is a little graphic because it talks about abortion. During the State of the Union address, President Trump spoke of a horrific procedure called partial birth abortion, which is an abortion in the last trimester, 7 to 9 months of the pregnancy, where the half-born baby is forced to keep part of its body in the birth canal, preventing it from being completely born, or the procedure would be considered murder. But because it's partially out and partially in, they don't consider that murder. Scissors are then stabbed in the back of the baby's head to insert a tube to suck out the baby's brain and collapse the skull. As you can imagine, this causes excruciating pain to the baby before death. While President Trump supports ending abortion up to and through the actual birth of a child, I noticed the Democrat women all dressed in white, remaining sitting in silence as President Trump exposed this gruesome and painful procedure. The picture of these Democrat women dressed in white, this is important, listen to this. The picture of these Democrat women dressed in white reminded me of another Democrat woman named Margaret Sanger, known as the mother of abortions, who became the founder of Planned Parenthood about the same time in history that the Democratic Party started the Ku Klux Klan. Sanger accepted invitations to speak to the women's branch of the Ku Klux Klan as the Democrat woman who also supported abortion, dressed in white for their own solidarity at the meetings. Isn't that sick? She knew that. When she knelt and said Black Lives Matter, and when they went to the Trump thing with all dressed in white, she knew the history of Planned Parenthood. She knew the history of what she was doing. Long rows of deceit, doing something with this hand while doing something evil with the other hand. I accepted, this is Margaret Stringer, I accepted an invitation to talk to the women's branch of the Ku Klux Klan. She said that. I saw through the door dim figures parading with banners and illuminated crosses. In the end, those simple illustrations, I believed I had accomplished my purpose. A dozen invitations to speak to similar groups were proffered. Margaret Singer's goal was to eliminate the black population. Singer referred to black immigrants and indigents as, here's what she said in her own words, human weeds and reckless breeders. She cautioned, we do not want word to get out. We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. That's her words. But wrote that they were spawning human beings who never should have been born. She said the chief aim of birth control is more children to the fit and less to the unfit. Have you ever heard anything more racist in all of your life? Where's Black Lives Matter? And we see Nancy Pelosi kneeling down, pretending to be in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. What hypocrisy that is. It blows your mind. It's so hypocritical.